Welcome to Board Game Empire. We're going to be giving you a brief overview and review of Books of Time by Board&Dice. So this game came out about a year ago.
Yeah.
And it has very unique mechanics and components. It's basically a set collection, point salad type game. And you are building books, 3 different color books. You're trying to build those to gain the most points by either gaining in-game objectives or also gaining points throughout the game by going up on these tracks. There's also points on some of the pages in your book that you add. So there's various ways to gather points, and you're just trying to collect resources, pay the cost to move up on the tracks, activate things on your pages, things like that to gain points or benefits that allow you to basically move forward in your objectives. So the main resources in this game are paper and pen. You will be spending those 2 items most of the time to gain things. Occasionally you will also be spending pages from your player board area that haven't been put in your book yet. You will be spending those as well to also gain objectives in this game.
There's also files you'll be using too.
Oh yes, the files are used. They're basically wild resources, so they can be used as pen or paper when you're paying for resources. So you start out. Each book starts out with a front and a back. So you're going to put those, and there's these binders actually open. It's pretty cool. So you start out by placing a front and a back on your book. Then you will have starting pages that have a 1 and a 2, 1 numeral, 2 numeral on it, and you're going to put the 2 and the 1 on top of the 2. And that's how you start your book. And then throughout the game, you'll be adding more pages from that you will be getting here in the offer. You start out by putting them here on your player board, then you're going to have to pay the resources to write those pages inside of your book. So there's different objectives you're going for while you're doing this in your book. You have your objective tiles here. They start out, there's 3 different tiles. The smallest and the one that starts out on the top is worth the least amount of points. For example, in this yellow set, it's 11 for the first one, 17, and 24. And you could see the objectives progressively get harder to get the most in-game points. You have to complete the entire thing to get all the points. It's all or none. The hardest one is the yellow one. That's the one I was going for, and for some reason in my mind, I mistook the objective that you needed to collect all of those in your book, but in reality, you have to get them in order in your book, which is very difficult to do. So I did not get that objective, but I did try. So that's how you're going to be choosing your cards based on which objectives you might be close to getting or going for. The red one is you have to have a certain symbols, 2 and 2 of each, or 3 and 2 and 4 and 2, depending on which one you have showing. And then the green ones this one is the easiest. Actually, the red and the green are probably equally easy. 4 different symbols in the upper right of your page. For the green, for this one, that starts out at 3 different symbols, and then the highest one for 18 points is 4 different symbols plus the little conversation bubbles. So that's one of your objectives. You're also going to be trying to move up on these tracks, and each one, as you could see, you get a benefit, or you could forego that benefit and choose to remove your top objective, making the next one available that you will be working towards. The yellow ones do change they don't change in the order completely, but they do add on to another symbol you have to get on the end. So you kind of have to wait until, if you want to do that one, until you've kind of turned your pages in your book and then place it. See, if I'd been paying more attention, I probably could have done it, but I did not succeed on that one. So you have, when you're advancing on this track, unless you have this symbol that is basically a free move up, you will get that sometimes on the cards, and on this track you can see that's available. Also, there's some with certain colors that you get to move up on a track. If you're not moving up by that symbol, you will be paying whatever cost is depicted over here on the right. Your points are tracked on the outside of this board, and players just take turns taking one action, and then they can do the chronicle event at the end, before or at the end of their turn. If they choose, it's not required. So you have a total of 6 different actions you can choose from. There is a lot of, we never got stuck in this game. There's always several options you can do. That's one thing I liked about this game. There's plenty of resources to be gained. There's never, some games, one player will have a ton of resources and the other has struggling to get them. This game is not like that. There's always plenty of ways to get resources and things. It's just a matter of who manages the actions the best and gains the most points with all the same actions, basically, that they can do. But the variance will be the pages that you have in your books. That's what differentiates you from the other opponent. Or from the opponent. So you can activate your pages, and when you activate, that's when you are activating these larger framed squares. You could do one or both of those actions. This one you would gain 3 pins. This one, if you're at least to the 4th level on the green track, you get 4 victory points. So it's very easy. When you activate the pages, you can choose one book, do 1 or 2, and then you turn the page. Once you've done that, each time you activate a page in a book, you keep turning the page until you get to the end. When you do get to the end, if you do, you turn it to the back, that's when you're closing the book, and you get to go through every page in your book and collect the little immediate benefit that you would normally collect when you write the page into your book. So you would collect all these, and then you'll move it right back to the front page of your book, and you start over that way. You can write pages, which is by paying the cost on your player board. They're more expensive over here and get less expensive to the right. When you write those in your book, you collect the immediate benefit and place it on the top. Wherever you were turned to in your book, you place it on top. You can close your book, which is wherever you are. Say I'm here in my book. You put the bookmark here. And every page to the left of that, you'll get to gather all those benefits on the bottom, those immediate benefits, and then you leave it to the front page. You can also draw 2 cards from the offer. There's always 4 available and 1 on top of the deck, so you could choose from any of those. You take exactly 2 pages first, and then you will refill the offer. When you place these pages, you'll be sliding any pages that are on your player board to the right. If there happens to be a hole because you've written that page to your book, you would just, and you have another card coming in, you would just only push them if they have to make room for a card in their own slot. You could also advance. You pay the cost to advance one of your tracks. You could do this as many times as you want, as long as you have the pen and paper or files that it requires to do so. One of my best turns was in the beginning. I paid to advance. I paid this one and that one. Then it was a chain reaction, so I used that to advance this track to here. Then I used that one to advance this one, and so on and so forth. It was a chain reaction, and it only cost me 3 pens and 2 paper to do all that and get all those benefits. And so it was like a quick boost on that track. The last thing you could do is turn your pages. So you select up to 3 of your books and turn the page on any of them. and you gain the immediate benefits on the pages you turned. So that's a way of getting you closer to the back of that book, or if you have a benefit you want to activate maybe on a page underneath, or if you, like in my instance where I was trying to get a certain order of these symbols in my book, that would have been a great action for me to do to get it in a certain order. And like I said, before or after the event, you have this chronicle book, the brown book that's on top of the this pedestal thing. It has its own bookmark. At the beginning of the game, you're going to take the last 3 pages, put that bookmark there, and when that shows there's 3 rounds left, the last player of each round will be turning these pages. This is basically the round tracker. But at the beginning and end of your turn, you have to choose beginning or end. You can't do this in the middle of your action. You can activate one of the pages. So I can either get a free paper there, or I can spin the pin to get 2 victory points.
This is solo.
Yeah, the symbols on the bottom, you can ignore those. If you're playing solo, you would only do the ones in the framed boxes.
Yeah, so this is for solo, this is for the non-solo.
So as you can see, there's a lot of ways to gather resources and advance in this game. The hardest part is to decide which action you want to do. So I think I covered it all in basically a nutshell. So what did you think of this game?
I really like the components of this game. It's phenomenal. It's really unique in the way it's designed and everything. The illustration is cool. Font's really easy to read. Cards could be a little better. I mean, they're just bent a little bit, but phenomenal components. Replayability, high replayability, because there's just so much you could do, so many options in this game, so much strategy, and it does take a little bit to set up, probably like 5 to 10 minutes. That's the only downside. It's quite a bit of setup time, but it's worth the setup. So mechanics, I really like the mechanics. My favorite part was also this aspect of the game. We're just moving up the track and trying to combo off of them. The book and everything. I really like the Chronicles event. So there's many different ways to collect resources and pages and write them, and just very point solid type of game. It plays phenomenal and it combos well when you do certain things. So for me, overall total, I'm giving this a 10 out of 10. I really enjoy this game. I think that this is one of the games we're going to be playing quite a bit when we actually have free time to play games. But phenomenal game. Board&Dice just hit out of the park. They have so many phenomenal games. Can't wait to play some of the other ones. So just a great game. 10 out of 10.
Yeah, I really enjoyed this game. I knew when I saw it, I had a feeling I was really going to enjoy it. We just watch it play on how to play, and we were up and going. I honestly only had to look at the book for the appendix, and the reason I would just keep that open to the appendix page, and it details what the things on the tracks mean and gives you more iconography, details. They do have really good player aids. It's a 2-sided. One side is the icons, the other side are your actions, and reminds you of the Chronicle event. So with these alone, you really don't need the book unless you just have a question on the iconography. Is really the only reason we had to even pick up that book after watching his video on how to play it. I did use the book to do the setup first. I always do that, and then watched him as well, just make sure we did it right. So I would suggest that if you get this game. And I just love the mechanics of this game. It's so unique. The little binders are really cool, how you're basically building your books. That makes this game very replayable, very different every time, because you're never going to get the same books twice. The odds of that are very low. And like I said, my strategy and understanding of the game would be very different in our second game, because I totally was under the wrong impression on that objective, and that really is what cost me the game, because he only beat me by like 7 points. So it was a close game throughout the whole game. We really never knew who was going to win, because you could easily come back with like 5 to 7 points in one round, depending on the what you activated, or on the track, or on your cards, or there was several times that we got probably 5 to 7 points in a round. But it's just, and that the Chronicle book it helps you. It helps kind of keep you advancing, because you only get to use one action. So for me, it helped make up for times when I couldn't gain a resource for some reason, because you really need to have the pens and papers to keep going in this game. So it's a balance of keeping those versus using them for the most optimal action that will kind of give you the most. So there is a little bit of downtime for each, especially in the beginning, because you're kind of figuring out, your first game, definitely there'll be some downtime between each player, because you're just so many different things to choose from and things to think about, of like, if you're thinking about your future turns, like which cards you're going to get from the offer, because you are going to be activating those in the future probably, or like figuring out the best track move for the best chain reaction, just little things like that you're going to be totally processing in your brain while you're playing. So for us, this was the perfect amount of complexity. It's simple, but there's a lot to do, a lot to choose from. It's not complex in the sense of being hard. It's just, and the player aids make it very easy to remember what actions you could do. It's just, it's very balanced, and there's a lot of just so many choices, and that where you're never stuck is what is awesome about this game. And then just the whole uniqueness, everything about it I love. So I would definitely give this a 10 out of 10. And if you've watched our channel, I never give 10s. Like my median ratings are usually 7s, 8s if I like it. 9s are rare, 10s are ultra rare. I've probably only given maybe 7 games of 10. This is definitely a 10 in my book. So if you like, resource management, point salad, set collection type games, and you're looking for something more unique, I would definitely check this out. This is such a fun game. And like he said, the setup time is worth it. I mean, it's only probably 5 or 10 minutes. You're just going to be setting up these books, and tear down. We'll be taking out the pages in the books, and we'll probably leave the front and back covers. There's no reason not to leave those on. So, and the starter pages, there's no reason not to leave those in. So we'll be already kind of a head start for our next game that we play. So I would highly suggest this game. We had a lot of fun playing this game. Like, I'm excited to play it again here in the near future. If we didn't have all these other games that we had to do, we would definitely be playing this game again, probably this weekend. So hopefully this helped you to decide whether this is a game you want to add to your collection. We will put the link in the description so you can check this out for yourself. Please give this video a like, share it with anyone you may think would enjoy this game. We hope you're already subscribed. If you are, thank you so much. If not, we hope you will subscribe. Thank you again, and we look forward to seeing you next time.